time to hand out some awards. First, let's thank Mets. That was a fantastic dinner. Thank you, everybody. So now it's time to begin presenting our MVP awards and major awards this evening. But before we get to that, we've asked 3 of our senior student athletes to speak tonight about what their experience at LVC has meant to them and the impact of athletics on their lives. So tonight, we will start with football senior Nick Shire. So I'd like to ask Nick to come up. Share with us.
4 years of baccalaureate education in Annville, Pennsylvania equates to about 25,000 hours. That's enough time to wait in line for a second serving of chicken tenders in our cafeteria. On a more serious note, it's enough time to cultivate countless relationships that will exist far beyond our time here at Lebanon Valley College. My reasons for attending Lebanon Valley, like most of you I'm sure, were twofold. I wanted a school that was known for both academics and athletics. LVC gave me a chance to play college football and earn a quality education. I was sold on becoming a Dutchman. I remember the first day of football camp like it was yesterday. There were more kids suited up for practice than in my entire high school graduating class. I was awestruck. The defense consisted of actual players and not trash cans. Freshman year passed by in a blur. Sophomore year and junior year came and went even faster than the previous. But it's been our senior year that has made the most impact. The kind of impact that's like getting hit by a maniac builder. What will I always remember about senior year? I'll never forget picture day for football and our new tight jerseys that were going to make us look jacked, but ended up unintentionally doing the opposite. It didn't matter though. In the right light, we still look good. I'll never forget our warm-up CD, and how we went 3-0 coming out to the contemporary games of Thin Lizzy, the boys are back in town. The last of those 3 wins was against Albright, meaning for the first time in 4 years, we got to march to Kreiderheim. As I sit back and ask myself the question, what has LVC meant to me? I feel it's more appropriate to ask, what hasn't LVC meant to me? I've been able to spend 4 months with Hobbits in New Zealand because of this school. I'll be attending dental school next fall on a full scholarship, thanks to the education and experience I've received here. I've met my best friends at this school. Upon further examination, there was a direct relationship between these aforementioned experiences and my time as a football player. My study abroad experience was encouraged by Coach Mons, even though it meant he was losing his backup order for spring football. My best friends, the overwhelming majority of them, are athletes. Because my athletic experience at Lebanon Valley College actually had a role in my postgraduate education. During my interview at the University of Pittsburgh, the first thing my interviewer said to me was, "I just want you to know that your letter of recommendation is one of the nicest I've ever read." Now this comment was not a reflection on me, but rather a compliment to the individuals who took the time out of their busy schedules to write a letter on my behalf. The very first individual I asked for a letter of recommendation, a certain Coach Mons. So Coach, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. I've learned a lot about the nuances of the game of football in my 4 years as an athlete, but it's the life experience and the camaraderie that I will cherish the most. Wherever life takes us, academics may get us the job, but the lessons learned from athletics will be what allows us to reach even greater heights. As President McDonald mentioned during the football banquet at the conclusion of our season, everyone in this room is an amateur. We are unpaid participants in our respective sports, playing not for fame or fortune, but for the love of the game. Never lose sight of why you play the game. Forge some relationships and make some memories. The clock is ticking. Thank you.
Well, this time we'll begin to announce the most valuable players for each of our teams. We'll recognize our seniors with their team before we announce each MVP, so we ask that when we call your name, please stand to be recognized. Traditionally, we start with our fall teams, but tonight we're going to go a little bit backwards by presenting our baseball MVP first. And that's because our baseball MVP, in the true spirit of being a student athlete, has an academic commitment later tonight, and we wanted to make sure that he's here to collect his award. So let's meet the baseball team. Head coach Keith Evans, assistant coach Chad Schell, Bill Folk, and Andrew Pipkin. The captains are Shane Specht, Jake Brody, and Colt Cirillo. And the baseball seniors are Pete Morrow, Nate Blau, Shane Specht, Caleb Fick, and Jake Becker. Our MVP was the staff ace. He made 8 appearances as a starting pitcher. He went 5-3 with a 2.85 ERA. That was the best among LVC starting pitching. He averaged more than 4 strikeouts an appearance. He saved his best game for last, pitching a complete game 4-hitter, 5 strikeouts to beat E-Town last Saturday on Senior Day. And just earlier today, he was named to the second team All-Commonwealth Conference. Our baseball MVP is Nate Blau. And then men's and women's cross country, the head coach James O'Brien, assistants Chris Bauer and Nick Wardle. The men's captains this season were Brad Swigert and Alex Delarico, and the women's captains Jen Cronin and Megan Long. The cross country seniors, Brad Swigert, Jen Cronin, Lauren Johnson, and Megan Long. We'll give our men's MVP first, and he was LVC's top finisher in 7 out of the 8 meets in 2010. He earned second team All-MAC honors with a 17th place finish at MAC Championships, ran his best race of the season there. He was under the 28-minute barrier 5 times and finished under 27 minutes twice. His best finish was at the LVC Dutchman Invite when he led the team to victory with a second place finish in front of the home crowd. Our men's cross country MVP is John Wallace. And our women's MVP finished an amazing career with her second straight trip to the NCAA Championship. She earned all-region honors for the 3rd time in her career, as well as a 3rd top 3 placement at MAX. She finished with a silver medal in 2010. She went on to nationals, finished 41st out of 279 runners, narrowly missing All-American honors. She won the LVC Dutchman Invite to lead that team to victory, and she was also the top Division III runner, 4th place overall, to lead the team to 2nd place at the very competitive Dickinson Invitational. Our women's cross country MVP is Jen Cronin. And out of field hockey, the head coach Laura Martin, assistants Alicia Arnold, Becky Elliott, and Sarah Lynn. Captains this season were Allison Beaker, Shelley Lobach, and Rachel Panalone. And the field hockey seniors, Sam Schober, Rachel Panalone, Lauren Seidenstricker, Shelley Lobach, Martina Bowerstocks, Allison Beaker, Kate Eckenrode, Marissa Maxwell, and Jenna McNamee. We have 2 MVPs for field hockey, an offensive and a defensive MVP, and we'll start with our offensive most valuable player, who is a team captain and an All-American for the 2nd time in her career as one of the nation's best all-around players. She created chances for LVC on offense, scoring 14 goals and 8 assists. She helped the team have the nation's #2 ranked offense. A first-team All-Commonwealth pick, she was also an NFHCA All-Region honoree, and she was selected and played in the Senior All-Star game. Our field hockey offensive MVP is Shelley Lobach. Our defensive MVP was a first-team All-Commonwealth Conference honoree for her play at bat. The team's top shutdown defender, she was usually facing opponents' top scorers. She had 2 defensive saves, 3 assists, and after the season, she was named the MAC and NFHCA Academic Honor Roll. Our field hockey defensive MVP is Rachel Canelo. To football now, the head coach Jim Monis, assistants Joe Beeler, Corey Wenger, Mark Costello, Guy Bernardo, Tom McKee, Lou Warndorf, Vince Panelone, Jason Bommerson, Matt Gross, Mike Wilson, Larry Minnie, Jack Beidler, Don Burton, Joe Tomtitian, Mike Evangelista, Rob Evangelista, and Craig Drake. The captains, Zach Weiler, Jason Steeringer, Clint Surgener, and Dane Eichelberger. And the seniors for football this year, Nick Shirey, Clint Surgener, Matt Willis, Jason Steeringer, Tim Ridewood, Andrew Scott, Dane Eichelberger, TJ Giavarelli, Jere Folks, Tyler Viverka, Caleb Fick, Mark Bound, Brendan Riley, Ed Tobin, Justin Lee, Jason Gigas, Cruz Manhurst, Brittany Ryan, Alex Gilchrist, Kevin Peering, Andrew Hurst, Zach Weiler, Corey Guest, Bryn Duffield, and Chad Comp. Our football offensive MVP had a terrific junior season. He earned first team All-MAC honors after setting LVC single season marks with 1,285 yards rushing and 17 touchdowns. He led the MAC in rushing and was 11th nationally. He had 7 100-yard games, including 262 yards, a career best at Kings. Our football offensive MVP is Ben Giles. Our defensive MVP was a second-team All-Region and first-team All-MAC pick, 20 tackles for a loss, 74 tackles overall this season. He led LVC with 48 solo tackles and had 7.5 sacks, recovered a fumble, and had 2 pass breakups. His tackle for a loss total was 7th in the country in NCAA Division III. Our defensive MVP is Alex Gilchrist. And finally for football, our special teams MVP. And he was one of the league's top return threats in 2010. He took back 17 kickoffs for a 23.2-yard average, 15 punts back for a 9.2-yard average. Both of those totals ranking among the best in the Middle Atlantic Conference. Our special teams MVP is Nick Shirey. And at men's soccer, the head coach Charlie Grimes, assistants Chris Coletti, Tim Mell, and Adam Myers. The captains this season, Justin Hutchinson, Chris Hall, and George Andrico. And the seniors, AJ Hull, George Andrico, Justin Hutchinson, and Morgan Krause. Our men's soccer most valuable player made a big impact for the team in his first year of the program. He started 17 games in goal, allowed just 1.6 goals per game, and did 88 saves with 4 shutouts. He was named the Commonwealth Conference Defensive Player of the Week on October 11th after 2 straight shutouts at Scranton and Alvernia. Our men's soccer MVP, goalie James Clements. And now the women's soccer, head coach Lauren Frankfurt, the assistants Jess Conrad, Rachel Bigger, and Daniel Figueroa. Captains Lauren King, Julie Von Hauser. Seniors Christine Fraser, Abby Kennedy, Ellie Kirchhoff, Lauren King, Julie Von Hauser, and Kylie Zepsoft. This year's MVP started 16 games for the Dutchman on defense. A smart defender who played at a high level all season long, she excelled as a leader on the back line, not letting opponents through to help LVC report a 1.29 goals against average with 10 team shutouts. Our women's soccer MVP, Jordan Denzel. And now our final fall MVP, volleyball. Head coach Wayne Perry, assistant coaches Diana Perry, John Swift, Stephen Boyer. Captains, Emily Hopkins, Michelle Little, and Joel Snyder. Our volleyball MVP put LVC on the path to their third consecutive Commonwealth Conference Championship and NCAA tournament berth. They're the first team in LVC history to achieve that feat. A first team All-Commonwealth Conference selection, she ran the league's best offense with 10.8 assists per set, which ranked 15th in NCAA Division III. She graduates second among the all-time assist leader with 3,514 for her career. Our volleyball MVP is Emily Perkins. Before we move on to our winner MVPs, we'd like to take a moment to recognize some of our coaches and student athletes who earned their sports top achievements in the last year, including last spring's awards, spring of 2010, which came out after our banquet last May. 5 of our coaches were named the Conference Coach of the Year this season. If you could please stand and be recognized for softball, twice I believe, Stacy Hollinger. For volleyball, Wayne Perry. For women's cross country, James O'Brien. For men's basketball, Brad McAllister. For women's basketball, Ty Guklowski. We had 2 conference rookies of the year, and they were from women's basketball, Lauren Rule. And for this softball season 2011, Allie Hartman. This season we had 6 student athletes named their conference's Player of the Year. That is more than any other season in LVC history. So if you could please stand and be recognized for field hockey, Jocelyn Novak. For men's basketball, Anthony Troutman. For women's basketball, Andrea Hoover. For indoor track and field, Jen Cronin. And softball, they get 2. The Player of the Year, Megan Donahue. As well as the Pitcher of the Year, Laura Snyder. And finally, just through 2 seasons, fall and winter, we've had 8 All-Americans. And again, that is also the most ever in a year, again, for just 2 seasons here at LVC. And so the folks that will get their name on the All-America ribbon in the new Hall of Champions this season for field hockey, Jocelyn Novak, Shelly Robach, and Kate Casey. For football, Jason Steeringer and Zach Weiler. For men's basketball, Anthony Troutman. For women's basketball, Andrea Hoover. And for volleyball, Joel Snyder. Congratulations all of you. And so now we'll give away our first major award, and that is the Female Sportsmanship Award. This award is given to a female student athlete who plays the game the right way and represents her team in Lebanon Valley College in an outstanding manner. To present the award, I'd like to ask volleyball head coach Wayne Perry.
This year's Female Athlete Sportsmanship Award is given to one of the biggest players I've ever coached. When I say big, I'm not referring to height, since she's only 5'6" inches. As our starting outside hitter for the past 4 seasons, she has constantly matched against our opponent's biggest blockers. She's been coming through for us year in and year out as a model of consistency. Her hitting percentages in conference playoff matches over the past 4 years have been nothing short of incredible. In this year's final, she hit 47%. Those of you who don't follow volleyball, hitting over 30% is considered a great match. But the statistical successes are not the importance here. It's that she's never been at the center of attention, yet she's always been at the center of the team. She's never loud or boastful, but has been rather humble overachiever. Never negative, always positive. Never critical, always encouraging, always smiling. She's a psychology major, will graduate with a grade point average over 3.8. A member of Phi Alpha Epsilon Honor Society, Psi Chi National Honor Society in Psychology, the Valley Ambassador, 4-year medal winner, 3-time All-MAC Academic Team, 2-time MAC Sportsmanship Award, 3-time MAC champion of the volleyball team, and one of the greatest representatives of this college I've ever seen. A few times during each of the last 4 seasons, various coaches and fans have come up to me and asked me, who's your player on the court that is always smiling? And I'm proud to say, Michelle Miller.
And now to present the LVC Athletic Service Award, which is given to a student athlete or group that makes our campus and our community a better place through their charitable service. I'd like to ask women's soccer head coach Lauren Frankfurt to present the award.
It is my honor to present the LVC Athletic Service Award to one of the senior captains from the women's soccer team, Julie Bonhauser. Throughout Julie's career at the Valley, she has had her hand in many community and campus service activities, including coaching at our free clinic, volunteering with Lebanon High School girls soccer team, reading to kindergartners, helping with the freshman move-in, and Kids Day at our game. The hours that she has dedicated to serving others is impressive. However, Julie's true passion has been committing herself to raise money for Relay for Life. She has been the women's soccer relay team captain for the past 2 years. For the 2010 relay, Julie spent her spring break going door to door asking for donations. When she came home with over $1,000, she realized that in 2011 she needed to increase her personal and team goals. Through her commitment to the cause, she was the highest online fundraiser for LVC this year, raising almost $2,500. She was also the motivational leader behind her women's soccer team, being the highest fundraising team with over $6,500. Julie, it is with great pleasure that I ask you to come up to and accept this well-deserved award.
And now, before we move on to our winner MVPs, I'd like to ask our second senior to come forward and share his thoughts. Tony Shipkowski from the men's swimming team. He'll share his thoughts on his experience here at LVC. Tony?
Hi, as you know, my name is Tony Shipkowski. I'm a 4-year member of the LVC men's swim team. I was co-captain this year with Jeff Bush and Pat Berry. I was also a 4-year qualifier for MAC championships. The reason I'm up here this evening is to talk about how LVC came into my life and has changed me to become a better person. Many years ago, in some place in central PA, I'm standing beside a swimming pool with my dad, who's a longtime swimmer, and he introduced me to Mary Gardner. And Mary and I talked swimming like there was no tomorrow. It's both of our passions. We live for it, we breathe for it. We live to teach others how to become better swimmers and better people. After I started to get into high school and had to consider where I wanted to go for college and what the heck I wanted to do with my life, Mary's there talking to me by the side of the pool, and she asked me, what do you like to do? I said, Mary, I love being around a swimming pool, and I love being around kids. I don't want to grow up. It's overrated. Who wants to pay bills? And just that's about it, pay bills. And she said, well, why don't you think about education? And at the time, I'm like, I wanted to become an architect. I wanted to make the big bucks. And then I found out that they don't really do that until they're old. So I decided to go on to education and checked in the LVC. And it turns out we have one of the best education programs in the nation. Of course, one of the best colleges in the nation, too. And I checked into it. The professors were freaking awesome, loved them to death. And I was like, all right, sign me up. So I get here, first week, my family and I are hit with a pretty big health scare, and I moved back home, which is only half hour away, and it was a pretty rough first semester. But the thing that made it the best, well, not the best semester, but the thing that made it bearable, I should say, was the fact that I had a new family here. And I'm not just talking about my co-swimmers on the swim team, I'm talking about my classmates and my new friends. One of which, Brett Wimmer, also swam on the swim team. He and his family were here for my family and I very often, and they provided us with a lot of strength, as well as my other teammates. And that's when I started to realize LVC isn't just a college. We're not like other colleges or universities that just, you come there, you're a number, you're nobody. Here, you're somebody. And it's not that hard to recognize somebody at this college, because as you can see, there are several hundred here sitting here today. That year, my freshman year at Max, I'm standing beside the pool. I forget what event it was, but it was a women's event, and it was distance. And if anybody knows me, I don't like swimming distance because I need a TV below me with like ESPN on to watch, because I get bored real quick in the water. I like the swim events. But anyway, I say to Mary, I'm like, Mary, that girl isn't having fun. And I'm not talking because it's a long event, it's boring. But I'm saying she just looks like she's just out there to swim, not doing anything else. And Mary looks at me and goes, you're right, she's not having fun. She won the event, and she didn't even smile. And I'm like, there's something wrong with this. And me and Mary talked about that, and we realized that this certain university, I really can't say their name, but all I can say is thank you, football team, for beating them this year. They aren't, nobody else that we swim against or that I can see that the other teams have played against is a family like we are. That is what makes LVC different. We are a family. Now, us as swimmers, we are a family. I don't know how many of the new recruits we see every year, and we say, you know, the thing that sets us apart is that we're a family. We do everything together. We have campouts at Mary's house, which we're having one tomorrow. We're doing so much things together, and it's so much fun. Now, before I get too far, I wouldn't be much of a teammate or family member if I didn't give props to any of the other football, or any of the other sports teams. First, football, again, thanks for beating a certain team, even though this year I didn't get to have it off because I was teaching. Field hockey, holy smokes. What, 3 or 4 years in a row you guys make it to the tournament? That's pretty sweet. Men's basketball, wow, you guys are on fire this year. Making it to the ECAC tournament, that's pretty awesome too. And women's basketball, I believe you guys are ranked this year for the first time in a while, and you also made it to the NCAA tournament. You're number one in our hearts, that's for sure. And then ice hockey. You guys are back in action. You guys are back on fire. Well, not literally because you're not ice, but you know. You guys are there. You guys are doing great. And of course, I wouldn't be a very good teammate if I didn't give props to our women's swim team, excuse me. Had their first winning season in their history. They went 7-6. They beat a lot of tough competition, thanks to our underclassmen and, of course, our upperclassmen. Before I leave, I want to leave everybody with two things. First, you underclassmen, don't hold yourself back. Always reach for the stars. Always be there for each other and reach down to helping hand. You will make great, lasting friendships and perhaps meet a future loved one. Keep LVC's tradition of being a family going, and don't forget the lessons you learned here at LVC. And to everyone else, I leave you with this quote from MASH, from Dan Wilcox and Thad Mumford. I don't care how poor a man is, if he has a family, he is rich. And that sums it up when you're here at LVC. Thank you.
And now to present the first of our winter MVPs, we'll start with men's basketball. Head coach, Brad McAllister. Assistant coaches, Scott Malin and Terry Bartlett. The captain, Zach Kevitz, Joe Meehan, Anthony Troutman and Sean McIntosh. And the seniors, Zach Kevitz, Grant Becker, Anthony Troutman, and Sean McIntosh. Our MVP was an All-American who led the Dutchmen to a 23-7 record and the ECAC South title, a memorable senior season. He led the league in scoring 20.1 points per game, shooting 52% at the two-mark. He ended the season by scoring 20 or more points in every game of LVC's 11-game win streak to end the regular season and qualify for the playoffs, including an unforgettable 36-point game with the overtime buzzer beater against Alvernia on senior day. He was named the Commonwealth Conference Player of the Year at the end of the season. Our MVP is Anthony Troutman. And now women's basketball. Head coach, Todd McCloskey. Assistant coach, Janelle Garber. Captains, Andrea Hoover, Susie Noyes, Erin Schultz, and Caitlin Murphy. And the seniors, Andrea Hoover, Susie Noyes, and Erin Schultz. Our women's basketball MVP was the driving force behind the team's unforgettable run to their first ever conference championship and the NCAA Elite Eight that they played right here this season. An All-American and a repeat Commonwealth Conference Player of the Year, she had 11.5 points, 4.8 rebounds, and 5.9 assists per game as she set single-season and career records for assists. She was the D3Hoops.com Regional Player of the Year and the Commonwealth Conference Tournament MVP. Our women's basketball MVP is Andrea Hoover. And now the ice hockey, the head coach, Tony Horchak, assistant, Spiros Anastas, the captains, Rich Drazen, Matt Kizadeh, and Brad Sertum, and the seniors, Jimmy Black, Nick Averona, Colin Thompson, Corey Conti, Brad Sertum, and Rich Drazen. And for ice hockey, we have two MVPs. The first led LVC this year with 18 goals and 35 assists for 53 points, best on the team, and finished out the year having played every game in his 4-year career. He was named to the roster for the ACHA Senior All-Star Game in Michigan, and he went there and he scored a goal and an assist among the nation's best competition. Our first ice hockey MVP is Brad Sertum. Our second MVP backstopped LVC with a 15-5-1 record as the starting goalie, allowing 2.49 goals per game with a .920 save percentage and 2 shutouts. A team captain, he made an even bigger impact off of the ice as he helped lead the program's Wounded Warrior game that raised more than $20,000 in one night for veterans charities. Our second ice hockey MVP, Rich Drazen. And now the men's and women's swimming. The head coach, Barry Gardner, assisted by Jim Gardner. The men's captains, Jeff Bush, Patrick Berry, and Tony Shipkowski. Women's captain, Ashton O'Brien. The men's seniors, Patrick Berry, Jeff Bush, Nate Heinley, Tony Shipkowski, and Brett Wimmer. The women's seniors were Allie Burley, Lauren Davis, Steph Manning, and Ashton O'Brien. Our men's MVP led the team by qualifying for 10 different events at MAC championships, and he earned second team All-MAC in the 200 free relay and 800 free relay. A team captain, he graduates holding 6 different school relay records. Congratulations to our men's MVP, Jeff Bush. MVPs for the women's team. They came in together as freshmen. They were impressive all season long. Combined, they set 10 individual school records and teamed up for 3 more relay records, and it seemed as if every week they were breaking each other's records. Between them, they already own every pool record in the distance freestyle, breaststroke, and IM events. They both earned second team All-MAC in the 400 medley relay at the MAC Championships. Our women's swimming MVPs, Alicia Hain and Julia Monjo. And that does it for the winners, so we'll go back to award some more major awards. And we'll start by asking track and field head coach Melissa Weidler to present the Chuck Maston Memorial Award. This award is our oldest annual honor, and it's been presented every year since 1952, given to an outstanding male student athlete who displays the ideals of sportsmanship, determination, leadership, and achievement. Melissa?
As Tim just mentioned, this award is defined as an individual sportsmanship, leadership, cooperation, and spirit both on the athletic fields and in the classroom. Over the 3 years that I've known this young man, I've been impressed time and time again by his sincerity, his dedication, leadership, and compassion for others. Last night I was thinking about how as coaches, we are hired to be mentors and teachers to our players. But I know I think this, and I'm sure my other colleague coaches would agree, we also learn a lot from the student athletes. In my 3 years with this young man, I have learned that an individual can make the most out of their life by the choices that they make. Not how they're brought up, not by who they are friends with, or the abilities that they are given. He has worked hard on the field and off the field to be successful, setting his standards high and working hard to achieve these goals. He has displayed leadership